Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Adelina and I make videos about living in my tiny house on wheels and living a more intentional life. We've been experiencing an extreme heat wave here in Canada and in Alberta and in Calgary. It was 33 degrees Celsius inside my tiny house this week and hotter, so it's just been crazy. So I have been trying to find ways to stay cool in the tiny house because I don't have air conditioning. So today, as I promised, I am going to go over how I try and stay cool in the tiny house during really hot weather, why I don't have air conditioning. I'm also going to do a review of the Arctic Air personal quote-unquote air conditioner, which is basically just a fan that uses moisture and humidity to cool you off, because I do have one of those, and I'm just going to share my thoughts on that. It's nice in the shade here with a little bit of breeze. It's actually not even smoking hot today. It's 28 degrees, which is still warm, but after 36 degrees outside this past week, this feels absolutely cool. So I don't have air conditioning in the tiny house, and that was by choice. A lot of tiny houses you see online have a mini split system, and it is a unit that sits on the wall, usually up high, and it is both an heater and an air conditioner combination unit. And it works fine if you are in mild climates, but I live in Alberta, Canada, and we have very cold winters, but I have a forced air furnace in the tiny house, and I needed that kind of a unit because it just gets too cold here for a mini split. That would never have heated my house sufficiently. So I needed something that had ducts, that I could have vents in the separate areas of the house, and I could keep the house warm in that kind of a cold winter. Traditionally in Calgary, we might have at the most 5 days, hot days a year, where you would think, oh gosh, I wish I had air conditioning. Really, it doesn't get that hot here traditionally. However, the weather patterns have changed. And last year we had more than that 4 or 5 days, and this year we've hit records for how hot it's been already, and that was in June. So now that we've started in July, it's going to get hotter. And July and August are traditionally the hot months of the year here, August being the hottest. So I know that it's going to get warmer, and I am wishing I had air conditioning, believe me, but I didn't put one in because traditionally I didn't think I would need it. I never really felt the need for it in my townhouse when I lived in it, so I didn't have a basement. But in general, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Normally, when I have all my windows open, I get such a nice cross breeze, even in my bedroom, because I have big windows on either side of my bed. I get this really nice cross breeze, and I manage to stay cool with maybe just a standing fan. But this year, this past week, it was so hot outside that you had to keep your windows closed to keep the hot air out. So when it was 33 degrees Celsius in my house, it was 36 degrees outside of my house. So I had to have all my windows closed. And what I did was I closed my windows, I closed my blinds, I angled them so that they would reflect heat out. I closed the curtains in the living room area, and I just waited it out until it got cool enough outside that I could open the windows again. And that usually didn't happen until at least 9 o'clock at night. So in the morning, when I'd get up at 6, it would be nice and coolish outside. So I'd open all the windows, I'd open my door with my screen, and I would just have that nice breeze cool off the inside of the house as much as possible. By about 9:30, 10 o'clock at the latest in the morning, I would have to start closing my windows, especially on the sunny side of the house. So yeah, that's the strategy that I had, was basically keeping everything closed during the hottest parts of the day. And because the sun really beats in on this side in the afternoons, the hottest part of the day, having the door closed was really important because that would just let so much warm air in. So one of the big strategies that I had was just sort of managing that, which I know a lot of you do. Another thing that I did was not cook, if I could help it. It just, even even making toast felt like it heated up the house. So if it wasn't cool, if it wasn't cold, I like cold food, I didn't eat it if at all possible. I made a couple recipes. One that I shared last Wednesday on the other channel was my tofu salad recipe, which was awesome in a wrap in a pita or on little crackers or with carrot sticks. That's awesome, an awesome recipe. I also made my pasta salad recipe that I have on this channel and is on the other channel as well. And what I did was, as soon as I got up in the morning at 6, I boiled the pasta while it was still cool, and then I put it in the fridge, and then I made the pasta salad later, and that was awesome because it was cold, but it was really filling. There's lots of nutrition in it, and I ate that for the next 3 days. So that was a really good recipe. I've also been using my air fryer. I actually have a cake in there right now. It's just sitting up on this little table here. I've been putting it outside here and cooking in that if I want to make something warm. This is how I have to cook. Out here for anything that needs the oven because it's too freaking hot. I don't know what to do inside. Thank God for the air fryer. Today I'm making a cake because I thought I would give it a try making a cake in the air fryer, because I've never made a cake, baked goods in the air fryer, but I've seen it on YouTube videos, and so obviously it's possible. So that's something that I do. Also, you can use your Instant Pot when it's really, really hot, because it's a pressure cooker. It cooks really, really fast, and especially if you can let it naturally release the steam, then you don't heat up your house. Your Instant Pot is a kitchen appliance that can be really useful when it's really hot outside, especially, like I say, if you make recipes where you can let it naturally release. If you're making something that you want a quick release, I would put it out on your front step and cook it outside, because then you can quick release and you're not letting that hot steam into your house. So those are two strategies for cooking that I definitely implemented this last week. Now don't laugh at this next strategy, because I swear it works. I know it works because I've done it multiple times when we were camping and it was so hot and we weren't near water. So I adapted it for that tiny house last week when it was just so hot and it was too hot to even feel human. So I took a bin, like a Rubbermaid bin that was clean, that was empty, and I put in about, I don't know, 3-4 inches of cold water. And I sat that on a towel right in front of my couch, and I put my feet in it, and that is how I sat in the evenings when it was so hot and it wasn't cool enough outside yet to open the windows. Having your feet in cold water, cool or cold water, is an incredible way to cool yourself off. I promise you, it works. I've done it sitting out here when it was really hot, but also in the tiny house. Like I say, it's incredible. It's heaven. I wouldn't work on something that was plugged in while I had my feet in water, so obviously I'm not going to work on my laptop when it's plugged in. It really works, and I swear by it. So yeah, I know it feels ridiculous, but desperate times. Okay, let's talk about this little gadget here. This one's called the Arctic Air. There's brands called the Arctic Chill. They basically come in so many different brands, but it's basically a fan and humidifier mixed together. You have inside here, they recommend that you soak it in water and put it in your freezer. I found putting it in the freezer didn't really matter, but what I did was soak it in water and just stick it in the fridge until I needed it, so that these little felt fins were really, really soaked. Then you set that in there and you pour water in this reservoir. Now, here's the trick. I would keep jars, bottles of water in my fridge so the water was ice cold. And I would fill this up, and then I would throw in ice cubes as well. So this water was really cold. And when you do that, it really makes a difference in the temperature of the air that's blowing out here. It's got three settings. And this one has a night light, but luckily you can turn that off because that's just annoying. So, does it work? Well, kind of. I mean, it's better than just a fan. I will say that. Is it an air conditioner? No, but it's better than just a fan. I would when I was sitting at my desk working during the afternoons in particular when it was really hot. I have this sitting on my eating bar 2.5, 3 feet away from me. And with the ice cold water in here and this pointed at me, it was enough to blow enough cool air on me to make it bearable. So this was actually useful in that setting because I just needed to stay cool because I had to work and there was just no other way, and the ceiling fan wouldn't reach over there. At night, I would again put in the ice cold water, the soaked filter, ice cubes. I took one of my stools and put it right beside my bed, and I set this right beside my bed, pointing at me. Did it help? Yes. Was it like air conditioning? No, but it helped, and more so than just my fan. I also have a little fan, but because this was humid air and the water that was in here was so cold, it did help. It was only 2 feet away from me, and it was enough for it to be bearable. I couldn't have my windows open because it was still too hot. So this actually did help. I think they're like $35, $40. I bought it off of Amazon. You can get, like I say, multiple different brands. They all work the same. They all have a little filter in here that you soak. They all have a water reservoir, and they all have a fan. Get one that if it does have a night light, you can turn it off, because again, that would be annoying. But do I think it was worth it? Yeah, I actually do. I think that was worth the money because of how much it helped me when I was working and getting to sleep. So here's the thing. I have ordered a freestanding air conditioner, one of those that's on wheels that you just put the little vent in your window. And I'm gonna have it in my living room in the corner where my guitar is now, because this is not going to be the last of the hot temperatures, the extreme temperatures that we're going to have this summer. They're predicting it to be really bad. However, they're back ordered everywhere. I have no idea when that's going to come. I'm hoping next week before the next heat wave comes, but I've ordered it from Lowe's Canada, and they've got to get it shipped directly from the manufacturer, because you couldn't even sell your soul for one of those units here in the city right now, because they are sold out, and I totally understand why. I'm not crazy about having had to buy it because it's big, it's bulky, but I do have the storage shed underneath the gooseneck where I can store it when I'm not using it and in the winter. But the house is just too uncomfortable to not have something, because it's so well insulated. And because I was doing the strategies of closing the windows and the blinds, I could be 3 to 5 degrees cooler inside than outside. But I was still in the 30s inside, so there was only so cool I could get it. I don't think the tiny house was special in that way, because I have a friend who's got a great big house, and it was smoking hot in her house as well because she doesn't have air conditioning. In Calgary, in Alberta, most people don't have air conditioning, traditionally don't have air conditioning, because it just doesn't get that hot here enough days to warrant the expense of putting air conditioning in. So everybody's suffering if they didn't have air conditioning. So it wasn't just the tiny house. I think it's, it's doing really well given the heat that we've had, and I know that has a lot to do with the spray foam insulation and the fact that I have so many windows. So once it does cool off enough outside that it's cooler outside than inside, I can open those windows and get that cross breeze through here, and that is heavenly. And in case you're wondering, Sophie has survived this heat, but she's not been very happy. I have tried putting cold, damp towels on her. She does not like that. She thinks I'm up to something. I don't know what she thinks. I did manage to get I put some ice cubes in a little baggie, and I wrapped them up in a tea towel. I managed to snug that up to her belly for a little while. She laid there for a while, but then she got up and moved away. What she does do is lay in front of the fan. I will have my fan pointed where she can lay in front of it, and I know that cats, like dogs, sweat through their paws and I think their tongue. They're not like humans, but I think she did like having the air blowing on her, so that's helped. She's much happier now, I will say, that it's cooled off a bit, because now she can snuggle. She still wanted to snuggle, and I didn't want any heat source anywhere near me, so I wouldn't let her snuggle with me, especially at night. So now she can snuggle again, so she's happy about that. So that, guys, is how I have been surviving this heat spell that we've been having. Nothing revolutionary, nothing earth-shattering, just the basic strategies of fans, spray bottles in front of the fans, this little sucker here, you know, putting my feet in cold water. I hope you guys are doing well. Please take care of yourself. Check on your friends and your neighbors to make sure that they're okay. And I will talk to you next Sunday